In 1996, Scholastic began publishing Animorphs. Over the next 6 years, Katherine Applegate and her husband, Michael Grant, under the pseudonym K.A. Applegate, produced 54 main series books, several spin-offs, and inspired a TV series, graphic novels, and a cult following. We can't tell you where we live. We can't even tell you our last names. But we can tell you our thoughts and feelings on this series, book by book. I'm Miranda.
I'm Eddie.
And I'm Chris.
And we are the Anidorks. These may be kids' books, but we discuss dark themes and mature content. There may also be some explicit language. Listener discretion is advised.
Where did we leave off?
We are actually on the start of, we're at the start of
Alarin's Choice, Part 2.
Did we actually get to it?
Yeah.
I think we need to check.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We ended with Bound Lauren.
That's what I have to
Remember
trade.
we couldn't get over Bound Lauren?
Thank you. Sorry, I forgot.
I'm going to be honest. Coming into Part 2, I was really excited because I thought we were going to get Alarin's perspective.
Yeah.
And we don't get that.
That would have been cool.
We don't get that, but it is still a very cool part.
Yeah. We actually hardly see him at all.
I know. It feels really kind of misleading to call this Alarin's Choice, especially given that I feel like the choice that it's pointing to may have been less of a choice than we think.
Just to remind someone, not me, but I'm asking for a friend, what was the first part called?
Elfangor's Journey?
That's what I'm leaning towards, too. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to see, and was it... Yes.
And part 3, not to foreshadow too much,
Alaran's
part 3 is called An Alien's Death.
Oh, it's not Arbron? It should be Arbron.
I agree with you.
Arbron's something.
Father, Son, and Holy
Arbron's
Ghost.
cute soulless eyes.
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It should have... Holy Taxon. It should have worked.
Holy Taxon.
Holy Taxon, Batman.
Yeah.
Who's Father, who's Son, who's Holy Ghost?
Come on. It's Alaran's father,
Elfangor's son, and Arbron's Holy Ghost.
Arbron's
we
Holy
know
Ghost.
this. We know this.
This we know.
Yeah. We should set the scene. Because Kay Applegate's going to go out of her way to set the scene for us as if we didn't just read part 1.
That's true.
So we should spend some time setting it as well.
Well, as I recall, the Animorphs were created by Elfangor when he crash landed on... Is that too far back?
That's too far ahead, actually.
Okay.
That's too far ahead. We're in the past.
Well,
Chris got a hold of the time matrix over here. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We ended on Chapman offering up a bound bikini clad for some reason. No.
You're adding that, and you always do this, and then you yell at me when I add stuff, and I get it, but like...
He's offering up a bound Lauren to the Yeerks. We don't know how he got control of the ship. We don't know how he tied her up. We don't know how he got the gun from her, because we left her with a gun.
Elfangor has flown to this, port where Chapman's handing
why is he
off...
flying?
Because he's a Kafif bird. He's still a Kafif bird.
Oh my god.
Yeah, don't you know about Kafif birds? They've got 12 wings.
Yes.
Yeah, but it would be faster if you said 6 pairs.
Yeah, 4-legged.
Yeah.
You know, I've got 6 pairs of wings. Let me back up. I was a 4-legged, 2-armed Andalite transformed into a 12-winged Kafif bird.
Yeah.
That's, let me count them, 6 pairs.
Do you guys remember that stock footage of like attempts at flight that humans made that didn't work out? And there's the one biplane with like 6 pairs of wings that just go up and up and up, and they go to take off and the wings just close.
Yeah. We're in the middle of our catch up right now. So Elfangor had just met Visser 3, who was not Visser 3 yet. He's
Sub-Visser
7.
That's what they say.
He escaped. He fell off the train. He almost got eaten by Taxons. He almost got shot. He turned into a Kafif bird and flew to where Chapman and Lauren were landing. Then Sub-Visser 7 arrive by train to do this whole pass-off. Arbron and Alarin are missing.
Still unaccounted for, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Last we saw them, they were in Taxon Morphs, and
Morphs.
they certainly didn't join in the Taxon feeding frenzy, right? We don't know where they are,
No.
but that's
If
definitely...
Elfangor managed to stop himself, I would imagine,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would imagine that Alaron just chowed down. Like,
yeah, he'd
he
be
was
like,
well,
this is war, children.
Barbecue, yeah.
a dead taxon is an edible taxon.
It's true.
That's what Alaron says.
We're on the Taxon home planet, right?
Yep, that's where we are. Yeah. And the Jahar is landing. The humans have landed in Aloran's wife.
There we go. Thank you.
We get some lines about how beautiful she is.
Yes, a work of art.
You mean the ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She glowed.
okay.
No, they use
Okay.
female pronouns for
No,
her.
because that's traditional with ships,
Yeah.
as annoying as it is. But I just wanted to clarify, because in this case it was ambiguous. Let's move on.
We're looking for the time matrix, too. That's the only thing I wanted to say.
no, that's important. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's really critical. And once we find the time matrix,
Moving on.
I don't get it.
It's true, there's been no stated goal. They're really just trying to keep it out of the hands of the years.
Yes.
yeah, we're just trying to get that bad boy.
So this really does, we're going to be in this scene for basically this whole chapter just of Elfangor trying to figure out what to do in this situation, because they're using this as an opportunity to catch us up on everything we just read in part 1.
We're flying around and we're recapping a little bit. So we're flying around and we just flew by the Jahar, where our charitable Chapman wants to donate another human to the Yerk cause.
Perhaps 7 billion more humans.
Yes, what a guy, what a mensch. And he, and so the Kafif bird, which is our hero in disguise, Elfangor, he more or less is like, I'm gonna just not deal with this right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fly orthogonally away from it.
He's like, you know what? This isn't my job.
This isn't my
This
job.
is Aloran's job.
This
Where's
is
my
Lauren's
boss?
job. Yes.
He's munching.
Has anyone seen my boss? We should make a little book called Where's My Boss? And it should be like that little book, Are You My Mama? It's like, are you my boss? Do I report to you?
But then
And
he
it's like,
realizes that
he's
Chapman...
the CEO. Oh, sorry. I thought you were doing the story for the
No,
children's
sorry.
book.
But then Elfangor realizes that Chapman knows about the time matrix, and if he tells the Yerks, they could be really fucked.
Yeah, the time matrix is game-breakingly powerful. It's a reset key. It's if anybody gets it and uses it the way one would imagine one would use it, frankly, all meaning in the universe would cease to exist. You would just be able, it sounds as though you could basically just reshape. You'd be more powerful than even Elamists, in theory.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe not, but like, just damn, dude, like, you'd be more powerful than any three-dimensional beings. Yeah.
For some reason that I don't understand, so maybe you two can help me with this. So Elfangor like DMs Lauren and is like, "Hey, it's me."
She's all tied up and shit.
Yeah, just try to play it cool while Chapman is like negotiating with Subvisor 7, and just like, don't make them angry. I'm gonna find a way to get you out of this. We're gonna figure this out, but don't mention the time matrix. And then he, for some reason, feels confident that Chapman won't mention it.
Yes, and I don't quite get that. It feels like in Survivor when somebody knows why somebody won't do a thing, but he didn't like explain it fully. So I don't know why he like. It's like through Chapman's greed, he feels he understands his motivations enough to know that he's saving that as a bargaining chip.
Yeah, but even with that, I feel like that's a really weak reason to be so short. But what else is he going to do, I guess?
Well, and the thing I'll say is that Chapman actually understands the function of the time matrix, so maybe he thinks he's being ultra heroic here, and he thinks like, oh, I'll do harm to this Lauren and this time thing so that I can get out of this situation, have time to operate the time matrix, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know what he's thinking, but like maybe he's thinking that any ends are going, or any means are going to be justified once the time matrix is found.
Because they'll be undone.
Yeah, and he is like obviously psychotic, so I don't know if that, like, he's very psychotic. So it's anybody's guess as to what his actual motivation is here.
But you would think that, like, if I were Elfangor, I think I would assume that Chapman would use anything as a bargaining chip right now. So it's just,
Yes, and that's what Elfangor says in the book. That's where Elfangor is coming from, right?
But I think he thinks he's going to save it. Like, he's going to keep it secret as long as he can to extract the most use out of that bargaining chip. No reason to tell them about it right away.
Yeah, Chapman is trying to establish himself as a player in a game he has no business playing, which is kind of like, it's a bad idea. If you're just but one person, like, you're incredibly disposable, and he's trying to, like, pitch himself as someone who is not disposable, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
But so all we really get is that Elfangor doesn't think that they're going to have a problem for now. And he thinks that he needs to steal a ship to try to find the time matrix, right?
No, that he thinks that the time matrix is on this ship, right?
Oh,
right.
He's no, it's okay. So
because they don't know it's on the ship yet, so
yeah, they're gonna go to the Skrit ship and hope for the best. That's their next move.
So don't know it's on the ship,
and by they I mean just Elfangor,
right? Because he's alone right now.
Yeah,
right. He says to Loren, "Hey, everything's cool. I'll come back for you. I'll protect you. Also, are you free next weekend, or just get back at me about that?" And he flies to the Skrit ship, right through all the little cradles of all the different
and all the trash and dirt. He says they just let it all build up.
I want to talk about that.
I think we should just.
What's up, Ed?
No, I don't know if we hit this already, but that he is feeling as he's deciding on what to do. He's torn between one, finding Aloran and Arbron, but he figures that if they were here, they would have the goal of getting to the Skrit ship and getting to the time matrix. So he's going to do that.
Yes, that is true.
Anyway, but he's torn between that on one side and helping Loren, who he feels really drawn to, and her golden hair, which she gets yanked by.
Of course. As we do a little flyover as he's going toward the ship, we do get a quick little note about Gedds being clumsy and loping, and that only low-ranking Yeerks were still stuck in Gedd bodies, which I feel like they've hinted at before during, like, the fugue, I think. Yeerk and Jake's head said something about, some of my people are still stuck with nothing but Gedds for bodies. And I'm like, well, that's, like, a body. Like, that seems rude. Like,
I don't fully get it. And what we said in our last session was something akin to, like, why are they so hard on these fucking Gedds? Like, obviously they were the best shit on their home planet. So how could it be that bad? And then they just had trouble being Gedds on other aliens' planets. And it's like, well, no shit, Sherlock. Like, just relax. Stop Gedd bashing over there.
But yeah, so I just wanted to, they do continue this through
Stop
line.
bashing your Gedd against the wall.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Geddbanging, they call it.
Geddbanging.
So Elfangor has to stay out of sight. He wants to morph back to his Andalite form. So he goes down beneath the ship's cradle, and it's really clean and nice there, right? Just
yeah, he could live there. You could eat off those floors.
Here's the thing. Ships are the RVs of space. Yeah. And the RVs of space have to dump their sewage somewhere. And apparently the Taxons are like, just dump it in this big hole. And that below the ship, what are holes for? Put shit there. And the thing is, that's where Elfangor's like, I'll have some privacy to demorph. I can demorph from a Kafit thing. So he just takes his Kafit and lands in the shit. And it's years and years of sewage and wreckage. And it even literally fucking says in the book, I demorphed amid the fossilized remains of sewage from a dozen species.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to feel as this actually might be the heaviest thing that this whole series has done. This is the grossest thing. This is so gross.
The dozens of species has a real implication. Like, we haven't been introduced to even a dozen species.
No, half a dozen.
Oh, wait, it says a dozen species specifically. But so we can see 4 here on purpose, right? We've got the Hork-Bajir, the Gedds,
Gedds,
the Skrit
Taxons.
and the Taxons, and the Yeerks if they have some sort of waste byproducts. That's 5. What other races have been on this planet?
They have not shared that with us because that's what they talked about with the different cradles for all the different ships.
Yeah.
Like, there's an unbelievable amount of versatility here that has not been expressed.
Which is presumably because of what the Yeerks have infested, right? That's when they brought them here.
Presumably. It could also be traders like the Skrit.
It's hard to say. You know, it's sort of a tax and egg scenario.
One could be Skrit poop and one could be nah poop.
It's sort of a Skrit versus nah question, you know?
At what point does the thing in the cocoon stop being a Skrit and start being a nah? That's the question I've got.
Which came first, the Skrit or the nah?
The Skrit. But no.
No, it's just...
Even when they're cocooned, they refer to it as a Skrit in a cocoon. It's only a nah once it emerges, it seems.
So it's a binary.
Yeah.
Gross.
Eddie, way to bring the binary into it, Eddie. Anyway, all right, let's get rolling. So we're clawing our way out of the shit.
Out of just utterly caked in shit, but we got our tail back.
And I remember,
got our shit-stained tail
not
back.
to bring this back, but Elfangor, he goes back to his Andalite form, and he's just walking around in the sewage, and...
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, my friend, for realizing that he must be tasting all of that feces as he walks around.
12
the top of it.
flavors.
12 flavors of feces. 12 flavors
12
of feces.
flavors of
This
feces.
This is the Ben and Jerry's of shit right here.
Jesus Christ.
It's so gross,
It's
dude.
very
and
gross.
frankly, Miranda, our argument from episodes past is going to get even weirder as we go on.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the biggest slip-ups in sci-fi
The
history.
fact that she repeatedly says they don't know what taste is and then uses taste and flavor to describe things.
Not to mention additional sensations, which I'm hoping to get to tonight.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited
And you
to
don't
talk
get
about
to
it.
flavor without hoof tongue.
No, it's not like when your leg falls asleep. You can't drink a soda with your foot.
Oh, no,
and
I
say
was
it's
going to say,
pins
I
and
think it's like a
needles.
celery stick.
Wait, what's like a
That's
celery
gross.
stick?
If there are mouths
You know
in the
how
hooves,
if you
let's
dye,
get back
you know
to
how
work.
if you dye the water and you put a celery stick in it, it'll
changes
change color.
No.
You never did this?
No.
Oh,
What was this, like a science project?
pretty cool.
I guess
You
so.
could say that.
Wait, when did you do it? When did you do
I think
it?
our dad just
School.
thought it was cool.
Oh.
I remember it in school though.
I don't remember it in school. Maybe you had it in school though, because I remember it being done on the bay window in the playroom.
Well, some of us don't get to try this until we're adults, and I'm going to do it tonight.
Here's the thing. When we finally get to read the fanfic, when we finally have read enough, I'm going to do a survey of that gross shit and see how much hoof kissing comes out.
Aww.
Because that's, I think, what I'm going to base my answer on. Hoof obscenities aside, he's tasting all the shit as he climbs about.
It's a slippery
and now,
slope with those hoof mouths.
Yeah, and so I had only one way to go. I would have to resume my taxon morph.
This is, oh my god, I'm sorry. The images are just there now, and I need them to pass. Okay. I hadn't thought of all the
Describe it. Can you
implications
tell
of
it?
having a mouth.
You
in
have
your
to
hoof.
share it.
No,
you have to share it.
No,
you have to share it. This is an audio medium. You have to share it with the people.
No, that's for Patreon
You'll feel lighter
content.
for having shared it. All right,
Chris,
that's fair.
you can
That's
get
fair.
there on your own. You don't need me to describe it first. So. Not that we need something else to get stuck on, but as Elfangor is morphing into his taxon morph, he gets very dramatic about it. He says, I would have to resume the taxon morph I had acquired. The taxon DNA was still a part of me. It always would be. And this opens up a question. What is the Heareth Illind?
Yeah. Which I can't remember how to spell, but I remember.
Yeah,
Doesn't
there's
seem
no-
to think
there's
that
no-
he could somehow lose this taxon morph.
Yeah, so we don't have any sort of like histamine we can introduce to produce an allergic reaction type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't just munch on some Parmesan.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's no editing. There's no, like, editing of what your morphs are.
Which does seem to imply that there wouldn't be a cap. Or
Yes,
if there is,
this
it would
is
be
what I was
very
gonna
high.
say. We thought maybe you could only
Yes.
have like 6 morphs and they'd all have to pick their lineup.
It is
but-
bizarre that it's a technology, and yet it just doesn't work.
You're right.
I love it.
The fact
yeah.
of it being a biotechnology, but also having this inherently organic feature like an allergy is like super weird.
Well, it's like you could be allergic to a biotech, I guess, but it's like...
But you would
if-
think you'd be allergic to all of it, not to just one crocodile.
I think that now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this did come up in book 1. I kind of think that for some reason when they started the series, they thought it was a natural quality of the Andalites that they could acquire morphs, and it became a biotechnology at some point. Why, though? I don't know why they would have had to make that decision.
Yeah, I don't exactly remember when it became
I
technology.
don't know.
Like which
Axe,
book.
I think, is the one who first introduces this idea that it's
Book
a
8,
tech.
yeah.
but I would say I'm not sure that they really believed it was natural as much as I feel like they hadn't thought it through yet.
They just hadn't made a decision.
The kids definitely seemed to think that it was a natural ability of Animorphs, but that can be easily written off
Of
as
Andalites, yeah.
the only... Oh, yes, of Andalites, not of Animorphs. But that can be easily written off as, like, I've met two Andalites and they can morph, and one of them gave me the power to morph.
Yeah.
It seems like an Andalite power.
I know as a kid, I didn't think about it, but I think that also meant that I just thought Andalites could naturally morph. But I guess the fact that they have the morph cube, why would they have the morph cube if it wasn't a technology? That's actually probably where it had to have been something they could gift to other species, right?
I also think it makes the idea of an estrine really strange, because the way they describe it here, I mean, I'm sure there's other ways you can get morphing tech given to you, but Alfangor was like, yeah, as part of the military, you all get morphing tech. And so I'm like, if it's a tech that you have to be given due to line of work, how do you find out you're an estrine and end up working as an estrine? Do you just
an artist
quit the military because you're so good at morphing?
Well, it's like getting in the military band or something. It's bizarre.
Here's my other thing that I haven't thought about until now, is that it's weird that a species that lives on such a limited planet in terms of diversity of life forms comes up with morphing technology, which they probably did upon traveling to other worlds, right? Like it probably was something they did.
This is a really good point.
And then,
what was the incentive on the planet? There must have been none.
And wouldn't the Andalites probably be especially drawn to a planet like Earth if it is so unique in that way?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't they want to go to Earth too? But that's never come up as something that they're seeking out. You would think they would always be seeking out new.
And they pitched
forms.
it in the last section as like a spying technology.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, they were like, we're the best spies of the galaxy or whatever with blah, blah, blah.
But that's why we're reading Andalite Chronicles, so we can dig into questions like these.
Yeah,
But it's like the Skrit want to abduct you and run their tests, and then the Andalites are like,
I love their
wanna
tests.
be you.
I love that they just like they're dipping celery into colorful water all the time. Like
Eddie, you don't know that. I think you might be projecting. But,
do we think the random, because they'll bring, it comes up again, the weird medical experiments of the Skrit and it again just comes up in passing. We never get any explanation. Do we think that's just like a reference to people saying that when they were abducted by aliens, they were like probed and stuff?
Yes,
I do think so.
It crossed my mind.
Yeah, that's the page that I was on.
They really are just like a joke about how we've described.
Totally. Yeah.
So we're a taxon.
As he's morphing Taxon, he hears another Taxon approaching, and he's like, ah, fuck. And then it's like thought speaking him, and it's like, oh my god, Alfangor? And he's like, Arbron! Oh, I'm so glad to see you. I lost you too. What happened? And he's like, I guess we got separated.
Yeah, he's playing it very close to the chest here. There's a tone of he's hiding something, and he's terribly upset, and he's also trying to perform normalcy.
Yeah, like everything Arbron says has this haunting quality, and Alfangor just keeps getting a chill.
He's going very quickly back and forth between like flat and emotionless and like over the top excited.
Yeah.
So we get, I guess we got separated. So, we gonna rescue this time matrix thing or what? Hero time, huh? And then, where's Alaran? And he responds, I don't know. I lost him in the crowd. Just you and me, I guess. Come on, let's do it. Let's save the world. Ha ha! Just what you planned, Alfangor. Alfangor the hero. And he's like, oh yeah, okay.
They're walking up to the Skrit ship and they need a plan. And Arbron is like, what's your plan? And he's like, we're going to go up and tell them we're here to fix the computers.
We're tech support.
We're tech support, baby. Let's do it.
Arbron's letting Alfangor lead, and I just love how often this happens with Arbron now that he's in Taxon morph. Arbron stared at me through red jelly Taxon eyes. Like, he just constantly mentions Arbron's red jelly eyes.
No, and they're obvious. They're beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
I think we know that if these eyes were on Earth televisions, there would be no more elections. We'd just vote the cute little roly boy up to president of the world.
You know when SpongeBob, like it zooms in on SpongeBob's face and he's like touching it and his eyes are watery and shimmery? That's how I imagine.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You don't mean when they zoom in and do super realistic gross stuff. Okay,
that's gross.
you're
That's very
good.
Ren and Stimpy.
No, this is, I'm thinking, like Anya Waku Waku Spy Family shit.
Sure.
Don't do this to me.
I'm sure it's a real show that you watched with your real friends.
12 had all the scooting. This book has all the slithering. Arbron and I slithered out from beneath the ship's cradle, and they just slither a lot, this book. So they walk up to these... Is it a Hork-Bajir? Is that right? Or it's a Gedd?
Gedds. The Gedds are the manual labor, and they're repairing the ship, hitting it with wrenches.
Smacking
tightening
it with
things
wrenches.
with hammers,
And Elfangor says, don't hesitate. You have to be natural. We're Taxon. Look like you're on your way to work.
That's how Taxons always look, man.
Yeah, dude.
You got the little briefcase.
They
They're
gotta catch
holding the
that
hat
train.
against the wind.
Yeah.
So this scene I really like, and I would like to read it. Just the interaction, because they walk up to the ship and all the Gedds are working away. Gedds are suspicious. They're like, what are you doing here? We got this.
Gallard.
We didn't call tech support. Yeah.
Gallard.
And they're speaking Gallard.
Gallard, which is common. It is the trade language. It is what all commerce is spoken through in this part of the galaxy.
But apparently Gedds have an accent.
They have a lot of trouble pronouncing it with their clumsy mouths. I don't know. But I thought that this scene was actually like, I don't know, the first time I read it, and I haven't read it since, but I was like, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like, this is actually how sci-fi works. This is grade A shit right
Like
here.
the right kind of
So
friction.
they show up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it gave the right heist vibe to this moment. It really embodied it great.
One of the Gedd controllers stood right in front of us,
You take the
seemingly
Gedd.
unimpressed. He spoke in Gallard, the language of interstellar trade. It sounded hard on his Gedd tongue, but I could understand him. No, Miranda, you come in with the...
Oh, I gotta
You get away.
I'll narrate.
What are you doing here?
If it was hard for the Gedd to make Gallard sounds, it was almost impossible for me with my little Taxon mouth and my little Taxon tongue. But I couldn't use thought speak. I might as well announce that I was an Andalite. I had to try to speak Gallard with a 3-foot-long Taxon tongue. So I tried. Which was not even close to being the sounds I'd wanted to make. What I had meant to say was computer repair, but the Taxon's tongue is so long
You got pretty close.
that it would be hard even if I was used to using a mouth to make sounds. The Gedd stared at me with its tiny yellow eyes.
Use your pad.
He pointed furiously down at a small computer pad attached to his wrist. It's some kind of translator, Arbron said, some primitive version of our own translator chips. Let me do it. He reached with one of his weak, 2-fingered Taxon hands and pressed several buttons. From the pad came a disembodied voice, speaking Gallard.
Computer
repair.
Oh, see,
that's way
I went
better.
more with the
I like
Skylo
that.
route.
I went
Computer
dialect.
repair.
The Gedd snorted angrily.
You Taxon wearers think you own the planet? Arrogant as Hork-Bajir.
That was arrogant as Hork-Bajir, because that is not going to come across.
Do you think that's Taxon warriors or Taxon... What is that?
Taxon wearers.
Wearers.
So Taxon wearers, as in Taxon controller. I liked this nomenclature a lot.
Oh, that's so good. That's maybe my favorite part of it.
That is really good. Is that the first time we've heard their language for it?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, Taxon wearer.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, I need to sit with that. Maybe we... That's really good.
Very body snatcher kind of language.
But so they make it into the ship, and they immediately give up the ruse, and they, this happens as quickly as you want it to happen.
Yeah, they toss off their little hard hats, and they're like, let's get to work.
And there's a little Skrit running around, but they don't even worry about the Skrit.
That's true, and then there's 2 cocoon Skrit in a corner that didn't quite look ready to hatch.
Yeah. I like to think of him as soon-to-be-nah.
It looks...
Soon-to-be-nah is good.
Thank you.
They say it takes a year, but they feel confident that they know enough about the Skrit not to tell if it looks like it's about to hatch.
Mm-hmm.
hey, maybe it's a way of of getting Na into the future via relativity shit. I don't know. You know, it's like maybe they stay in a relative year, but then they're traveling around at
It's true. Maybe they just have to go around the sun once, and they take the Raider ship as close as possible and just do a tight loop.
Yeah, and then they just hatch right then because it's about the rotation, not the time.
Well, this is
I love
the tone of the scene. Everything seems like it's going to plan. We're about to take off.
And
Elfangor
demorphs.
demorphs, and he looks over at Arbron, who should also be demorphing, but he's just.
Meanwhile, outside the Geds are hammering away.
They've cottoned on everything, and they're like, "What are you doing? Open up!" I also thought maybe a Scooby Doo voice. Because he does all the R's.
Yeah, that's...
Open up!
And Elfangor's like, Arbron, what are you doing? Demorph already. And Arbron just stares with his beautiful shimmering red jelly eyes. And Elfangor's like, come on, Arbron. Come on, demorph already. Come on.
Just demorph one more time for me.
I'm gonna be honest.
Like before.
It's given me big Swamp of Sadness vibes.
Oh, in Neverending Story?
Neverending Story when he's yelling at the horse.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's a handful of moments like there's actually that happens a couple times and I'm still scarred from that scene. I haven't watched the movie since I was but a child.
It's also Jake with Tobias at the end of book 1.
Yeah.
Quit goofing around, Tobias. Come on.
Yeah, quit goofing around.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so right. Do you remember that movie they made us watch? Misty, the Black Mare of... Do you remember?
You guys have had this conversation before.
Yeah. But
the
it's
Mare
like,
of Chinnahook or something.
Yeah. Get going. Like, and he like raised this horse, and then it's like, no, you need to be a wild horse, and the right thing to do right now is kick you.
Go on,
and
get.
They make fun of it. They make fun of it on SpongeBob with his horse named Mystery. He yells at her, and he's looking away and crying, and she has already left. And Patrick comes up, who's been trying to do something for him, and he's like, "Didn't I tell you to get out of here, you stupid animal?"
Yeah.
Patrick just leaves without saying anything. Because Patrick was there.
I think the whole classroom was like crying. I think the way I remember it is just devastation.
Where Redford grows too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so, oh my god, and Secrets of Nim.
Oh,
like,
don't get me started.
Yeah.
I never watched it.
No, I'm not okay with that stupid book where they killed her.
Yeah, the bridge breaks,
her.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god,
They bridged her?
So mad.
No,
They bridged her.
Oh, nice. They bridged her. I'm still mad about that stupid fucking book. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
yeah, he can't morph back.
yeah, he goes, I really wish I could, Elfangor. I really wish I could. I don't know why he's speaking like that.
He's an omelet.
Thanks for listening to Anidorks. We'll be back soon with lots more to say. Until the Andalites return, or at least until next time. See you soon!